Okay, if you're like me, you hate it when these gel pens, these Uniball gel pens that we get, do not work. You've been told all kinds of things. Finally, someone told me I had to store them with the point down. So that's what I do from now on. But I had like a dozen of these. So I decided, well, if they don't work anyway, why not rip them apart and figure out if I can fix them? So that's exactly what I did. Now, when you tear them apart, you're going to unscrew the silver, this silver cap right here. Sorry, I'm trying to do this with my phone. Okay, so you got this silver cap right here that you're going to unscrew like a normal pen. Then you take your refill out, what normally is a refill. Now, the refill normally has, here's the tube that's in there, and you can see it's got all this ink in there, which I never got to use because it got all gunked up and hard. Okay, it's still gunky in there, but it doesn't come out. It doesn't flow down at all anymore. Doesn't matter if I bang it or whatever I do to it, it doesn't come out. So the gel ink is no good. The pen is no good. So why not just rip it apart and try to fix it? So what I did was I ripped these all apart and I cleaned these tubes out. Now to clean the tubes, here's the things you're going to need. I just took a large paper clip, opened it up, okay? This is what I use to get most of the gunk out first. I just scoop it out and wipe it on something. I've got a filter here or something. And you're going to need some pipe cleaners. Now mine happen to be white because that's just what I happen to have on hand, but it doesn't really matter. Matter of fact, colored ones would be nice because once the white ink comes out, you can tell when your tubes are clean. Alright, and now I have these little, and this might be handy, I got these at Harbor Freight. It's a little set of, I don't know if you can see these, okay, it's a little set of, they come in a ring, wire brushes. They're bristle brushes to clean little tiny things. Now I use the very tiniest one, the smallest one that was in the thing, to clean out the tips where the balls go down in. Now, I'm going to have to repeat this or do this on another video to show you exactly. What you're going to need is a little dish, some type of a little dish. You can see I have 3 of these in there. Now these are the, you're going to need pliers probably to get these out with. Let me see if I can get one out so I can show you. Okay, these are the ballpoint tips that come out. And you can see it's all clogged up and everything. What I'm soaking them in is Stays-On cleaner. You've all probably got that. If you got Stays-On ink pads, you got Stays-On cleaner. So I've got a little Stays-On cleaner, and I poured it in a dish, and you can see that it's all white in there now because of the Stays-On is dissolving all that gel ink. Okay, so soak them for a little bit. Maybe soak them for 10-15 minutes, okay? Then you're going to take them out. And what I did was, you could probably refill this with Stays-On ink, but I figured I really didn't want Stays-On ink in there, so I refilled them with the Craft Stampin' Up! White, Whisper White ink, because now my pens, I can use them for 2 reasons, right? I can use them to put white on things. Now this I did with my one that I cleaned and put Stampin' Up! White ink in. I stamped this, and then I put the white snow on the tree with the one that I cleaned. So I'm going to make another video because I don't know how long I can do this in this phone, and I'm going to clean one of the tips out. Now let's take a look at these tips down here, because this is where your problem is. Cleaning the tubes out is easy. You're just going to scrape out most of the junk, and then you're going to take a pipe cleaner with Stays-On it, and you're going to just run it back and forth through the tube until it's fairly clean. And then you can rinse it out with water and take a clean pipe cleaner and run it through there and dry it off. Now, what I want you to notice is on the end here that it's white, you're going to have to pull that off with pliers. There's a little white end. Let me see if I can get it out here and show it to you. Okay, I'm trying to hold the camera and do this at the same time. Do you see this little white plastic end right here? You're going to have to pull that off. Now, it comes off pretty hard, but it will come off with pliers. So pull that out, but be careful when you do. Now inside of here, inside of the orange piece, there's a little tiny roller ball inside of there that keeps the ink from going right straight down through in here. And where this is all dried up and clogged is up here in this metal part up in here. So that's why you need that little brush. So take the white thing off. I'm going to take the white thing off and then I'll show you that little ball. Okay, I've got the little white thing pulled out. That you can see how tiny that is right there. This is the little white plug. Now this has to be in your thing, so just set it aside so you know where it is and don't lose it. Let me get that off of there now because I pointed and stuck it in there. Inside of this thing, inside of this orange thing, there's going to be, let me see if I can get it up here. Inside, if you look in there, it's all gunked up with ink and everything. So it's been soaking for a while, but that ball, there's a little tiny bead in there, and it's not the one that's at the bottom. The bottom one down here, it will still stay in there. That'll still roll. It should roll. You should feel it, and without putting, if you can hear that, it's moving. That means it's been soaking, and the one in the bottom is rolling. So that's not where the problem is. The problem is right in this long metal tube right here that goes down to that roller ball, and that little ball up here that's keeping the thick ink from going down through there. So anyway, I'm going to try to get that little ball out and clean it in there. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to stick the little tiny end of my little brush here, this brush right here, I'm going to stick this into the StazOn, and then I'm going to stick it in the orange end up here and keep poking around until I get that little ball out. But be real careful when it comes out because you really want to, I'll show you how tiny it is and you really want to see it and don't lose it. Okay, I got that little ball out, and as you can see, here it is right here. You can see how tiny it is, and it's a little silver ball, so don't lose it. Just set it aside, and then what you're going to do, well, it sticks there, is you're going to take this tiny one and you're going to keep sticking the tiny little brush into the StazOn cleaner into here, and you're going to keep shoving it down until it goes almost all the way to the tip. And you can tell how far it goes in because when you pull it out, you'll see how far the whiteness will be on the thing. Okay, so we're going to clean that completely out. Okay, we're back. Okay, now I've cleaned out that so you can see inside of here. I'm holding it with the tweezers, and I want you to see that I had StazOn on the cleaner on the little brush, and I kept pushing it down in there. Well, now what's coming out is the old ink and the StazOn until it rolls out. And once you know that, you've got the tip clean. Okay, now that that's all cleaned out and we've rolled it around, and we know that the bottom roller ball is rolling and the ink is coming out, or now it's clear. But if you can hear that. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a couple drops, because it takes too long if you don't. I'm going to put a drop of the craft ink down in that hole. Then I'm going to drop that little metal ball in, and then I'm going to put the white piece that we took off back on. Okay, that has to go on or it won't work. So I'm going to put like a drop down in here, put the little metal ball in, and then push this white plunger part down on top of the orange. Okay? Okay, I've got this all put back together again. I put a drop of ink down inside. I put inside of the orange. I put the little ball in, and then I put the white on, and I pushed it down really tight. You want that really tight. Clean it off good. And then as you can see, I got a little ink coming out the bottom now. Okay? And so what you're going to do is I have this tube cleaned out over here. This is all clean inside. So I'm just going to put a few drops of the Stampin' Up! Craft white ink down in there, and then I'm just going to stick it back on, put it back on, and put the pen back together, and then I'll show you how it works. Okay, all put back together again, the whole pen, and I put about 12 to 15 drops of craft ink back in there, and we're working good. Okay, These pens work better when you draw lightly and allow that ball to roll, but this works actually better than the original ink that was in there. And nice thing about it is you'll be able to emboss with it too. Hope you enjoyed this. Sorry about the craziness here. I only had myself to do this video. I'm doing it with a phone.